So one of the most anticipated games this year is Fallout 3, and you have been playing Fallout 3.
Yeah, I've been playing Fallout 3 for a week now. And basically Fallout 3 is, of course, the third episode in the Fallout saga. The Fallout games were very popular, or kind of cult games in the 90s with a very open RPG world set in a post-apocalyptic world where you were pretty much free to explore and do what you want. You could kill children, you could rape women, you could take drugs, and this freedom of doing whatever you wanted to do was pretty much what the players appreciated. Fallout 3 has been in development for quite a long time. It's Bethesda Softworks, who are famous for the Elder Scrolls Oblivion series, who are doing this version, and there's a lot of anticipation for the title.
What I've seen from the hype for Fallout 3 is that it looks like it's got a lot of atmosphere and this tension to it. And what do you feel about the world? Is it a big immersive world?
It's quite a big and it's quite an immersive world, but it's a game that has its faults. And I just want to point out right away that if you're a hardcore Fallout 1 and 2 fan, you are pretty much bound to be disappointed by the third one, because, I mean, we aren't living in 1998 anymore. This is 2008, and games have developed, and the kind of gameplay you had in 98, the kind of things players would accept, they won't accept today. So Fallout 3 isn't as true to its legacy as, I guess, the hardcore fans would want, but it is still a progression of the genre, and I think Bethesda has handled it pretty well. But they have created this huge world of Washington, D.C. After the apocalypse. You are a survivor, of course, from a nuclear war. You were born in an underground vault. You've been living there all your life with your dad, because your mother died at childbirth. And then one day your dad disappears and all hell breaks loose in the vault, and suddenly you find yourself out in the wasteland. For the first time you're seeing the sun. You're going somewhere you haven't been before, and then the game starts for real.
So the game looks, or could look like a first-person shooter, but it isn't really, is it?
No, it's quite a mishmash of genres, because it's got if you played the Elder Scrolls game Oblivion, this game actually feels like a mod for Oblivion. I hate to say it, because there's been a lot of critique of the game before the release, because journalists were saying, hey, this plays exactly like Oblivion, and Bethesda said, no, it doesn't. But believe me, it does play like Oblivion. It's got all the faults from Oblivion are showing much clearer, and also all the good stuff about Oblivion is there. So this is an RPG. You have stats, you have like for strength and different abilities, you have skills, you have perks, you have percentages that decide if you manage to hack a computer or pick lock or whatever. All these influence the gameplay, but at the same time the combat is very first-person shooter-ish. I mean, you can play it with a system called Watts, where you freeze the time and you use action points. At first I didn't understand this system at all. It felt totally meaningless. You can aim at the head or something with much more effective, just blasting away. But it is kind of useful when using grenades or heavier weapons, because you can aim really precisely. Sometimes you play it like an RPG, sometimes you play it like an adventure, and most of the times it's sort of like first-person adventure game.
Come on, you piece of junk. Every day it's the same damn thing.
I told you, Gob, it ain't the
What I feel from just seeing the trailers and seeing the teasers and screenshots is the world feels like a washed out, just grey, brown, really not really inspiring place to be at all.
Who wants to live in a world after a nuclear war? I mean, it is a post-apocalyptic world. It's grey and it's pale, beautiful in its decay and in all the rubble and the mess. But also the graphics create sort of a feeling of when you find something that is clean or colorful or looks pretty, you really appreciate it. I mean, that's sort of a reward in itself, not just getting new equipment or a new armor or a better weapon. But being in this dirty world is kind of claustrophobic.
If you could come to some kind of conclusion to all this, what would you...
Yeah, basically Fallout 3 is a flawed game in many ways, because it's got an arcane control system. It's got a jump button that shouldn't be there. It's got an inventory handling that is so old-fashioned. Everything has to be done by this small menu system, and you have no minimap. You have bad directions on the screen. There are so many things that I hated at first when I played this. I thought, oh my god, they really messed up the whole franchise. But then you get into the story, you get into the atmosphere, you sort of start to forget all those flaws, and then you start to really immerse yourself, and then you get into scenarios where you meet people that you kind of can relate to, and you get into situations that stick into your mind long after you played it, that you replay in the back of your head. What if I had done this? What if I didn't attack that guy? What would happen? Because it's such an open world, and it's such an open gameplay that you can attack situations from different directions and get different outcomes.
So I'm not into Fallout at all. Could I just easily start playing Fallout 3?
Yeah, if you liked Oblivion, you're pretty much bound to enjoy this game, and you don't have to have played Fallout at all.
Okay.
I mean, if you go back and play Fallout today, you probably never understand what all the fuss was about, because it plays like a crappy game today. But Fallout 3 is a sort of game that when I started playing it, I was going, this is a 6 out of 10, but then it grew on me and it grew on me, and now I'm pretty happy with the game.